Welcome back to the Garza Gaming Channel. Today we're going to discuss the bonus update to 9.4. And I'm telling you right now, Hi-Rez has been able to achieve something that I have not done in a long time, is they finally got me to rant about something. But hey man, without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's get into 9.4 bonus balance. But before we get into the items, there's something I want to bring your attention to that just cracked me up and I totally do not agree with, right? So in the general description, when they're talking about, what their intentions were with the 9.4 nerfs and buffs and what have you, under their section where it says goals, right, it says decrease average damage. Something that I totally do not agree with, and something that I just don't think whoever wrote this actually played other modes, was that the fact that they stated that non-conquest modes saw average total damage go down, right? With every class individually seeing a decrease in damage. However, this damage decrease was generally quite small and only in the range of average of maybe 2%. Whoever wrote this obviously has not played a mage in arena, because I'm telling you right now, every mage I have in arena, their damage has gone down anywhere between 15 to 25%. That's a lot higher than 2%. Zeus alone, his damage is, my Zeus, without changing anything, pre or post 9.4, same build, same tactics, same everything, went from doing anywhere between 50k damage down to 30k damage. You know what I'm saying? With even on the average game with Zeus, I'd always come out with at least 40 to 45,000 player damage. Now I'm averaging more between 30 to 35. Anywhere between 30 to 35 damage. So I lost, I'd say, more on the rounds of maybe anywhere between 10 to 15,000 player damage, which is a lot higher than 2%, man. And that's pretty much the same thing across the board with all my other mages, right? Now I had to do some tweaks to my builds, which allowed me to squeeze more damage out of certain gods like a Kukulkan, right? But in all, I totally do not agree with the statement that there was only a 2% decrease in damage, or approximately 2% decrease in damage, that these buffs caused a small ripple, right? Because I think what they're not taking into account is not only, yeah, I can see that maybe the decrease in the base damage of the gods, right? Maybe reduce their damage by maybe 2%, right? But that's if they had no items at all. If they just played naked, post and prior and post 9.4, say Zeus, for instance, that had his number 3 decreased, right, by a little bit, and some other nerfs, I can see that his damage might, just in that instance, been decreased by 2%. But when you take into consideration that most of the highly used mage items got their flat pin nerfed in 9.3, and then later their attack power nerfed in 9.4, in addition to some of these guys' base damage on certain attacks, that is a trifecta of nerfing, right? So there is no way in heck, taking consideration the flat pin that was taken, taking consideration the attack power that was taken, and taking consideration the base damage that was lower, that they're only seeing a 2% range decrease in damage on other modes. I just do not see that as fact. So I don't know. But that's enough of that rant. I just read that and it just blew my mind. I was like, are they serious, dude? Are you serious? I mean, they obviously weren't playing mages. But anyway, let's get into the items. So one of the biggest focuses that this bonus nerfing went into effect was for starter items and some penetration type items. So the first one on the list is Death's Toe. They decreased the physical power from 20 to 15 on this starter item. Gilded Arrow, so I decreased basic attack damage from 25 to 20. Leather Cowl, decreased physical power from 20 to 15 and increased attack speed from 5% to 7%. So they reduced the amount of physical power that you get from this item, but they buffed up the speed just a little bit. So I don't know, that might actually balance itself out, to tell you the truth, depending on what type of god is using the starter item. Now here's a real popular one that a lot of people play in Arena, and that's the Bluestone Pendant. And they actually decrease the passive bonus damage from 25 to 20. That's a pretty decent decrease. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a life-ending change for this item. I think people are going to still end up using it, but you're definitely going to see a decrease in damage when using this item. Vampiric Shroud, they decreased the health from 100 to 25. So they reduced the health of this item by 25%, which is a very big nerf. Sands of Time, decrease the magical power from 30 to 25. Ooh, that sucks. Conduit Gem, decrease the magical power from 30 to 25. The starter item, Eye of the Jungle, who cares? Nobody uses that in Arena. Okay, so now we go into our actual items, right? So they ended up decreasing the mace from, or tier 1 of the maces. So this is going to affect your Titan's Bane, your Jotun's Wrath, and your Brawler Sticks, pretty much tree, right? So they decreased the level 1 of those physical power from 15 to 10. Heavy Mace, which is pretty much the level 2 on some of those items I just mentioned, remove the 5 flat penetration from this item. So at tier 2, you're not even going to have flat pen at this point. Warrior's Bane, they removed the 10% penetration from this item at level 2. So what they ended up doing is on your tier 2 physical items, they pretty much removed any penetration and are not going to give you that penetration until later on in that build. Pretty much decreasing your damage output against tanks, especially at the lower levels. So we're going to see how that works out. And then we go into our magic type items, right? So this is going to affect our Divine Runes, our Spear Desolation, and Spear the Mangus type items, right? So at level 1, to decrease the magic power from 25 to 20. So they decrease your level 1 damage, or decrease your magical power you get from these items by 5. Which at level 1, dude, that's pretty significant. Enchanted Spear, they removed the flat pen. So just like they did with the melee type items, and the Mage tier 2, they also looks like they're going to be removing the penetration value of these items. So they removed the 5 flat pen from the level 2 of the spear tree, and then they ended up removing the 10% penetration from pretty much the obsidian shard tree, right? Which is, I mean, it is what it is, man. All this is going to do, and see, this is what's so frustrating for me, is the fact that not only are they nerfing mages in the way of their flat pen and then their damage, right? But they're not removing any magic resistance from the tanks or the melee types. So as it stands now, before this bonus update, mages were already struggling, man. As soon as that 9.4 went in, mages were having a lot harder time trying to bring down a heavy Hercules, a heavy King Arthur, you know, a heavy any tank, pretty much, really. And all this is going to do is going to make it even harder. And I'm sure by now you've already experienced this. I know I have. I definitely saw it, especially in my Kukulkan and my Zeus type builds, right? And I mean, we're just gonna have to get, I guess, accustomed to it. But I really hope that they, you know, take this into account, that they're pretty much making mages not even worth playing in certain situations, because I mean, you're in early game until you actually build up that flat pen against some of these melee types, you know, the warriors and the freaking guardians. If they're built heavy, it's like shooting spitballs at a freight train, man. You don't even scratch the paint on their shield. I mean, it's just craziness. But I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Your rings builds, right? So your tier 1 of your rings builds, they decrease the magical power from 25 to 20. Level 1, your katana builds, they decrease the physical power from 10 to 7. Your Shuriken builds, you know, your Shadow Stone Shuriken, your Wind Demon tree, they decrease the physical power from 10 to 7 at tier 1. So what, I mean, you're seeing it all across the board, man. They're pretty much just, you know, lowering the damage that you can output, that you can put out from the first maybe 1 or 2 levels of the game, right? Your first 1 or 2 levels, not just tier wise, but, you know, character wise. So then your shield, you know, tree, they decrease the physical power from 10 to 7. And then for your enchanted buckler tier 1, they decrease the physical power from 10 to 7. So right there, your tier 1s, they did not decrease any protections. They're just decreasing offensive power. Eesh. So let's see what we say. Berserker Shield, they decrease the physical power from 30 to 25. Decrease physical protections from 60 to 50. Again, physical protection, not magical protection, physical protection. It's craziness. Okay, so here we go. Shogun's Kasuri, right? They decrease the magical protection from 60 to 50. So that's pretty good. They at least took one item and stripped it a little bit more magical protection. Not that too many people actually use that item in Arena, but I mean, something's better than nothing, I guess. And Catechist Shield, they decrease the physical protections from 35 to 30, decrease magical protections from 35 to 30. So they decrease that by 5. You know, I guess more people will probably use this item in Arena, but it's not a mainstream item. I'm telling you right now. So for us in Arena, again, mages are getting mega nerfed, man. They are getting mega nerfed. Not just at late game, but early game. So that's going to force a lot of mage players to play a lot more passively for the first half of the game, to tell you the truth. Because if not, you're just going to end up getting your butt handed to you by the looks of it. But hey, we'll see how this rolls out, man. Hopefully they'll see the impact that they're doing and maybe, you know, pull things back a little bit and give us back a little bit more pen. They're not going to give us the attack power. At least give us back more penetration so we can penetrate that armor. Or, you know, give us back a little bit more attack power, or decrease the magical resistance or protections of these heavies. I mean, that's the only thing they can do, to tell you the truth. And in all fairness, though, you know, when you do a big change that's going to shock the game like they did with 9.4, right? There's going to be some fallout, and it's going to take time for, you know, the people that are implementing all these various changes and testing various changes to actually analyze the situation and see what the ripple effect was of it, or the aftermath, I should say, and then adapt to it. So, you know, let's be fair and give them a little bit of time. But if anybody's watching this that is, you know, doing any of these changes or have anything involvement with these changes, I'm just letting you know right now, please take a look at mages, because I don't know if you saw this or not. Again, I've repeated this 1,000 times. Mages got nerfed 3 times over. Flat pen 9.3, attack power 9.4, decrease in base damage 9.4, and the 4th, no magical resistance items get nerfed, or very little of them that actually are used in Arena. So please take that into account. Okay, moving on. That horse has been dead and we beat the crap out of it, so let's go on. Okay, so the Jade Emperor, right? They ended up finally buffing him. As we saw when he came out, he was one of the weakest debuts of any god that they had and that I can even remember, man. This guy was doing like no damage. Probably because he was suffering from, 1, coming out weak out the gate with his attacks, 2, coming out weak because he went straight into a flat pin nerf and a damage reduction nerf of some of the main items that you would build on this god. So this god already had the world against him before he even set foot in Arena, unfortunately. But what they ended up doing is actually buffing up a bit. So his Flames of the Phoenix, they increase his cinder damage from 15, 25, 35, 45, and 55 to 25, 35, 45, 55, and 65. So what they ended up doing is pretty much buffing them by 10 across the board, looks like. And then for damage, right? And then they increase the magical power scaling from 15 to 25, which is a significant increase in power scaling. So that's definitely, you should definitely see some better numbers between the damage increase and that power scaling. That's definitely going to make the Flames of the Phoenix a lot stronger. Deo Cultivation, This ability now deals 100% damage regardless of how quickly it is fired. So you don't have to, I guess, sit there channeling in it. Even if you do it fast, you still get that 100% damage. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Dueling Dragons decrease the cooldown from 100 to 90 seconds. Increase the magic power scaling from 50% to 60% on the push dragon, and increase the magical power scaling from 45% to 50% on the explosion dragon. Total increase went from 95% to 110%, and increased it by 15%, which is pretty significant, I think. This is still a very difficult ult to pull off, so I think that you should have some good benefits from actually doing it right, being able to time it right. Because obviously it's easy to put that little circle over somebody and do the damage, but to be able to take advantage of both dragons pushing or doing damage and then meeting in the middle, I found is very difficult in arena, man. Okay, Shiva. So Shiva, as you saw, even with all the nerfs Shiva's received since he came out, he's still pretty strong, man. So what they ended up doing is going one step further in nerfing his ult one more time. So all you Shiva mains, man, you get ready to get your boohoo on, man, because what they ended up doing is for his ult, they removed the 20% damage mitigation Shiva gained while channeling. So they totally removed that damage mitigation. So it's going to allow him to be a little bit more stoppable when he goes into that freaking dance, right? So yeah, that's gonna be pretty significant for those Shiva players, man. Cleanup. So they actually did a slight nerf on Cleanup. So now Cleanup, when she goes into the walls and stuff, right? If she does damage from the walls, you know, where she stays in the walls, but you know causes damage outside the walls, they actually removed her ability to get physical lifesteal from those attacks. So you can't go into a wall and attack, you know, people that are by the buff minions, you know, in arena, and try to get back some health before you shoot out, you know. Now, when you shoot out of the wall, you still, for those 5 seconds, will still get the lifesteal ability. You just can't get the lifesteal while you're in walls, so keep that in mind. So for Cthulhu, they actually nerfed his ult again. His ult, they decreased the max health that you get from 25% to 20%. So you know how you get that increased health? Yeah, they decreased that by 5% when he goes into his ult. And his first ability in his ult, they decreased the base damage from 100, 150, 200, 250, 255, and 300 to 100, 140. So level 2 of it, they've decreased it by 10, 180. So level 3 decreased it by 20. You know, 15 at 4 to 220, and then at the very end by 40 at late game. So late game, they went from 300 to 260. They reduced it by 40 damage. I don't know, man. Tell you the truth, I think his ult was fine. Man, it is what it is. Daji. So Daji, they increased the cooldown on her ult by 10 seconds. Hebo took another nerf, man. His steady flow, they decreased the magical power buff per stack from 5% to 4%. So that's going to be a total decrease, of total power magic percentage from this buff from 15% to 12%. So they decreased it by 3%. I don't know if you're going to feel that or not. I don't know. I'm not a Hebo main or a player for that manner. I do need to start playing Hebo. I need to do a video on him. I don't think I've done one since the channel was freaking around. But anyway, Crushing Wave, right? They decreased the base damage from 370, 450, 530, 610, and 690 to 350, 430, 510, 590, and 670. So they took away pretty much 30 late game for that Crushing Wave, and they decreased the power magical power scaling from 115 to 105. So they took away 10% power scaling. Dude, that's a pretty significant nerf for Crushing Wave, to tell you the truth. That's very, very significant. But yeah, man, those are the bonus update nerfs and buffs to 9.4. So what do you think, man? Do you agree with the devs and that, you know, that the mages or the damage that we saw with 9.4 was only maybe a 2% decrease in power or in damage? What have you seen? You know, what are your thoughts on it? Put it down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this topic, right? Because I want to make sure I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was just me. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I've seen anywhere from a 15% to a 25% decrease in damage in my mages, depending on what mage I play. Some mages seem like they got buffed a little bit, I mean nerfed a little bit more than others, but I don't know. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Again, don't forget, if this is the first time seeing our video, hey man, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have over 500 videos just like this one on our YouTube video library. And don't forget, we put out new videos every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Most of our videos are SMITE build videos, where we try various different builds on various different gods, and then we actually not just build them, but actually go into the arena, test them out to see they work or not, and then check out, you know, the results afterwards to verify if they worked or not, right? Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Garza, your OG on the GC. See you next time.